Yo, what's up, Tim? We're live.
Yeah. So I was just watching the end of the game, you guys. Looks like that the 16th the 16th try is the charm, apparently. Ryan, the big chatter today is that USC had not won a game in 15 attempts east of Colorado. And it looks like they're going to pull out this victory in West Lafayette over Purdue. Hey, guys, we're here. We just wanted to start a little bit early, kind of catch the end of the game. We thought it would be closer, but USC just pulled away. We wanted to. I'm glad it's not a tight finish, to be honest with you, Ryan. The way this was going, especially against a team like Purdue, we were expecting USC to pull away, definitely. I thought the offense would put up more points. I thought that the secondary would be a little bit tighter, but we could talk about all those things. Remember, this is your guys' show. You guys call in, let us know. We want to know what you think about SC. 888-997-4539. Ryan, what are your initial thoughts just on the game?
Yeah, road win. There's everything that we thought kind of could happen in terms of weirdness and adversity. You get a 3-hour rain delay. There's some weird plays that happen. The refs are abysmal again. No excuse. USC's got to take very business, which they did. But these refs are just, these Big Ten refs, Tim, which we'll talk about a lot, are just brutal. But yeah, we'll get into all of it. But I think USC obviously closed out. I think overall, I liked what I saw from the offense. A couple drives you like to get back and, capitalize on touchdowns. You had to settle for 3 field goals, missed one of those. So you'd love to convert those into touchdowns, and this would have looked a lot more lopsided. Defense, I thought the defensive line looked a lot improved. I was in a chat, and a lot of people are hating on the linebackers. I thought the linebackers look better. The secondary is the issue, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, for the next 30 minutes to an hour or however much people want to talk about. But I don't know what's going on with the secondary. I don't know if it's schematic, if it's whatever, but that's the real issue here. So, but hey, it looks like it's going to be a cover if they punch it in here, unless they decide just to kneel it. But either way, 30-17 or 38-17, first road game, good victory. You'll take it. Your thoughts?
Love to hear from you. Yeah, I want to hear because, man, okay, so let's just, before we get really into the show, I want to talk about guys that really popped today. Tanuk Hines came out of the gate saying, hey, guys, hold on. We stop talking about the tight ends, but we will talk about the tight ends. Stop talking about the tight ends. There's a wide receiver 3, and you guys, his name's Tanuk Hines. He didn't come down with some of those balls, Ryan, but he's showing not only can I get up the field, take the top off the defense, but I can go up, I can high point a ball. I'm going to try to bring that in one-handed in the end zone. And then you got Jaw Jarrett that, people were kind of saying, oh, he's a bit too big, wasn't really doing much at Georgia. We're not expecting much from this year. He gets the big man's dream. The ball just batted up in the air, and was the third quarter or early fourth quarter? Can't remember.
Late third, I think. Yeah.
Down with it. And he took that thing 360 pounds. Took that thing. But by the time he got to the end zone, he's probably 140 pounds by the time he got to the end zone. But
Tim, did you see though that there was that offensive lineman that was, I don't know if he gave up early, but Job burned him. The offensive lineman that was trying to catch him, Job was looking fast, like Usain Bolt out there.
There was another lineman. I don't know if it was Jakeem Stewart or if it might have been.
I think it was Devin Tompkins or
Devin Tompkins. Yeah, I think it was. Someone kind of played a little bit of. Thank God they didn't hold on that play, because that wouldn't have been terrible. Yeah. Ruined his 70-yard return, but just Jaw Jarrett. That was a huge play. And then we have to talk about, and we will get into it, Bishop Fitzgerald. He had more than a couple of missed tackles this game. We could talk about that as well. This is the first time I've seen in quite a few games, going back to last year, where I thought that the tackling was a bit weak. And but as far as on the back end, Bishop Fitzgerald had himself a game. He saved 14 points. I don't know about you. I get a pessimist late in these games, and they're getting ready, knocking on the door. They could have made this thing really interesting if they punched that touchdown in at the end there. But Bishop gets that interception at the goal line. And then previously in the first quarter, he got that interception, saving that touchdown and early in the game. So again, Bishop Fitzgerald, his 3rd interception on the year, 2 on the game.
Yeah.
He's got to be up there for the game ball.
Oh, I'd give it to him, I think. When you just think of one singular standout performer. Because here's what's crazy, Tim, is you think the defense is not where we want it to be, is not where it needs to be. I think all offseason is like, all right, the defense is going to be great. The offense is where all the concerns are. They're not bad. I don't want fans to forget. I don't think this is a bad defense. The secondary is not good right now, but the front is fine. They're not a bad unit. They're just not, I think, as dominant as we had hoped. But you have four turnovers and one for a touchdown. So the defense actually put up 7 points and turned the ball over 4 times. So for a bad day at the office, at least you get some good results there. So, but obviously need to see some improvement moving forward into better teams. Purdue, I think Purdue is going to be a solid team. I think Barry Odom is a fantastic coach. Just seeing where he's been at every stop. He's kind of like, he's not quite there yet, but he has real Curt Cignetti vibes. Obviously very different because he's a defensive mind where Curt Cignetti is an offensive mind. But everywhere Barry Odom's gone, he's turned programs into winners. And so I'm not giving excuses by any means. USC is a much better football team. They should have won handily. But I think Purdue is going to be a good program. I think Barry Odom has those guys playing and obviously brought a lot of guys with him. So, first road battle. So let's just see how we improve from here, though, Tim.
Yeah, we talked about the secondary that was disappointing. They did give up 305 yards passing, and here's the thing: what's upsetting about it is that the entire game, the defensive line did a great job. You had Floyd Bucard, the true freshman, getting up in there, getting his sack. They were all over this team, the quarterback. But you got to hand to Brown. He was getting the ball out quick, and the receivers were surprisingly open. I mean, that's the thing. And was the line 20.5?
20.5. If they would have got a touchdown right there, they would have covered. They would have won by 21.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about the score there. So that was a bit surprising. They couldn't tighten up the secondary. It just seemed like they're giving up way too much, room. It was way too loose, giving up way too many yards. There were a couple of fluky plays as well. But I'm still having some issues. It looked like guys weren't up on the line. Bishop Fitzgerald, he popped. I mean, there were a couple other people that missed some tackles. There was a lot of missed tackles, Ryan. I mean, I really, really was surprised on that. But like we said, this is the first road game, so it's a road game. They had that really long weather delay, and they're just laying down, waiting for the game to start for 3 hours. So you want the space there, but overall, I mean, it was a great performance by the Trojans. It's hard to come down on them when they do win the game, 33-17. But I would like to see the defense be a little more dominant. Let's see what Purdue does this year. I mean, they've got some receivers. Brown looks like a very capable quarterback. He definitely can, he's dual. He can move well. He scoots. But getting to that, really liked what I saw from Jay Demayava today. Last 2 weeks, we've been talking about how he's been really, very, very decisive in his play. Looks very comfortable in the scheme. The pocket seemed pretty damn clean most of the night as well. The offensive line did a pretty good job on that as well. Yeah. There were times where he didn't have time in on the last drive, second to last drive, where he had the ability to get rid of the ball. It looked like he could have gotten rid of the ball, and he did. And he kind of took that 4-yard sack. He used to throw the ball. He was outside the pocket. He should just thrown that ball away. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised he didn't unload that. It's just plays like that drive me crazy when quarterbacks do that. But for the entire game, his decision making was excellent. And just seeing the receivers come out again and the tight ends, Lake McCree had himself a hell of a game as well. Your thoughts on the tight end play? Because again, it looks like the tight ends are coming alive as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Love what we're seeing here. It's 2nd and 17. Hey, will that go as a sack or did he get it out? 55 seconds left. So, I mean, I think what's most exciting about the tight ends, just on that specifically, Tim, is that they're actually like using them. So, obviously Mark Bowman, the big recruit in 2026, when he first committed, everyone was like, okay, well, hopefully they'll show that they want to use tight ends and keep them. And this is looking much more like a Lincoln Riley offense at Oklahoma back when they had, Mark Andrews and other tight ends there, with the way they're using Lake McCree and Walker Lyons. I mean, both guys getting tons of run. I think my favorite new, which he's done it before, my favorite new Lincoln Riley play call, they ran it 2 for sure times, maybe 3, both times on 4th down. Just that basically RPO to the running back, and you just leak the tight end right across the line of scrimmage. And Walker Lyons scored a touchdown last week on the same play. Just basically it's a 2-yard dump pass to the tight end, and it goes for 10 yards like every time. I love that play call, love that design. And it worked well in this game and obviously in the past. So yeah, they're using the tight ends really well. And, Lake McCree, some of those seam passes had that nice seam pass down the middle. Jaden Mayava just put it. I mean, he couldn't have handed it off better. So that was great to see. And I think they're doing well in the blocking game. So overall, great to see the development there. I agree with you. Like, I think fans will be mixed on the offense this game and maybe even mixed on Jaden Mayava. I love what I see from Mayava. I mean, I think the improvements there. I think the decision-making was there. I think he had like 2 throws that were like, could have been intercepted. So, you don't want to have those, but overall, I thought he was real decisive. He looked real calm. Some of those passes were just like dimes that he was throwing, the deep balls to Lane. I mentioned the seam to McCree. So I thought he was accurate, looked poised, looks like he has a complete command of the offense. You can see the leadership a little bit more of how he's talking to guys and getting guys on the sidelines and in the huddle. So I thought Mayava played great. You want to see more, obviously, touchdowns out of this offense, like I said in the beginning, but it's a game to stack on, game to improve on.
Yeah, that throw, like you said, the throw, I mean, arm talent's always been there, but just the decisiveness, he's let it rip to that over the middle. He let that thing rip over the middle to McCree. I mean, that I loved seeing that seam pass you're talking about early in the game. I had that in my notes. I'm trying to look for it right now, but yeah, he just steps back and just rips it in there. But he can make that. He makes those passes all day long. That's what's so nice about Jaden. Seeing him run the way he is has been that extra layer. And hold on, let's get we need to change our setup here. Hold on a second.
Yeah, Madman's joining the party.
Oh, now we're all over the place. I got to move my whole desk over here.
Tim back in the middle.
All right.
What's up, Madman?
Gentlemen, how we doing? Great to see you.
Good to see you too. We have our first. Well, we had our first call. I don't know what happened to it. LV, call right back. I know your phone number. I saw that come in. And I think we're going to do something different. I had some people, 2 people, not 100 people, but they said that they wanted to see us to go ahead and drop the StreamYard link. So we'll do that as well. You're not going to be on screen, but we'll run both ways. And going to make sure that we have like the priority is always going to be the phone line. But if you guys want to hop on, I'm going to drop the StreamYard link in right now.
Can we do it now or wait?
Yeah, I just dropped it right now. So
okay, cool.
You want to get in there? Feel free to join us on StreamYard or on the phone line. Again, phone number right above me, 888-997-4539, 888-99 Riley. Game's official. USC wins 33-17 and West Lafayette beating Barry Odom's Purdue Boilermakers. I agree with what you said, Ryan. This is going to be it does appear to be a much better Purdue team than you saw last year. Still not sure how excited we are, but anytime you go on the road, score 33 points, win by multiple touchdowns in the Big Ten, I'm not really going to scoff at it. You got to take those wins when you can.
Not after last year, right? After last year, we'll take it.
Especially when they're 0 for 15 over the past, what, I don't know, it says 2012, so that's 13 years. So, I mean, that stat has been kicked around all day long on Twitter. So, yeah, this is a pretty big win. Our only Big Ten road game wasn't really even a road game, was it? It was in Pasadena, so it's right across town. So, really quickly, Jamal, before we get to our first call, what just quick initial thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Mayava looked really smooth, early in that game. I mean, there were a couple of throws there, particularly first 3 quarters of the game, a couple, the big plays to Lane, that jump ball to Tanuk Hines, I thought was really nice. And then those 2 seam route throws to Lake McCree were probably his 2 best throws of the day. Looked really poised, under control. So was very happy to see Mayava feel more and more comfortable. I think, our receivers are receivers. And then you got to really like the disruption on the outside of the defensive line, right? I mean, I think Gentry and Fountain really disrupted that game and then allowed other guys to eat, particularly Jaw Jarrett, with that pick 6 was probably going to be the highlight of the whole season, to be honest with you. And that was fantastic. So I think a lot to like there. I still think we're going to have kind of a nice competition there of who's going to be true RB1. I think Jordan and Sanders, I think that battle will continue. They both bring some unique elements to the table. And then I think obviously things to work on. I think Purdue schematically kind of made a mistake in this game. They ran a lot of 3-3-5, a lot of, four-man rush and then kind of a 7-man shell on the back end. And SC's receivers are just too good. And I think that when they started pressuring Mayava more is when you saw Purdue kind of get back in the game. So I think a lot of Big Ten defenses are going to notice that. And I think they're going to come with more pressure in the games to come. And then defensively, outside of the edges and Gentry, work to be done on the interior of that defensive line. Linebacker play continues to be inconsistent. And then a lot of work to be done on that secondary. So nice win, great win to be, sort of 1-0 on the road. But this game really did swing on 3 Purdue interceptions. Let's not forget, Purdue had 3 interceptions inside SC's red zone each time. And so it really kind of came down to those 3 plays in so many ways. So 16-point win, feeling good about it, but lots of work to be done moving forward.
Caller, we'll get to you right in a second, LV. What I like about all 3 interceptions, though, it's almost like in tennis where there's unforced errors. This was not an unforced error. It was due to pass rush. It was due to stepping in and making the play. So, taking the ball, especially that first interception in the end zone was just really a great play by Bishop.
That was fantastic.
He's showing that. So, but I am with you. Yeah, it's like they did capitalize on mistakes, but it's more of like in Riley's first year, right, where they got all those turnovers. Yeah. It wasn't by fluke. It was because those quarterbacks were scared crapless. Shitless of Tuli Tuipulotu coming down their throats, and that pass rush was just relentless. Kind of like that when Danton Lynn and the pass rush at UCLA when he was the defensive coordinator there. It leads to opportunities, and so again, I hear what you're saying, but turnover luck is turnover luck. But these seemed like they were forced.
They were forced. No, I totally agree with you, Tim. It was definitely forced, which is why you feel good about the win. I think, lots to really like there and lots to work on. That's sort of where you want to be at this point in the season. You don't want to get kind of a sense of complacency like we're really humming early. You want to be able to sort of rev up. So, we'll take the win and move on. And also let's give sort of a kudos here to Lincoln Riley a little bit. It's not easy to keep your team ready after a 3+ hour weather delay. And, he sort of joked about it with the halftime kind of telecast that it was just sort of being on West Coast time. But to keep those guys locked in and focused, I thought was impressive because let's not forget, SC only really had the ball 3 times in the first half. That third drive was over 7 minutes, and the first 2 drives were pretty methodical. And it was, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So offensively, they were definitely very much locked in. So kudos to Lincoln Riley for keeping them ready.
All right, we kept you waiting long enough, Greg. Let's jump into the calls. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I know this phone number. He's been calling long enough that I know it by heart. LV Live, how are you doing, sir?
What's going on, boys? Fight on from the East Coast, man. 10 o'clock out here, man. But it feels great. Of course, the rain delay kind of pushed things back. But great win today, man. Great win. What's going on, Ryan, Madden, man? Of course, Tim, you're my guy. Guys, I thought this was a fantastic win. I mean, this is a nasty game in the Big Ten, in the Midwest, right? It's rainy, and I thought that you got to kind of have some grit. I don't want it to be a perfect win, and the reason why I say that is because similar to what you said, Madman, they got to rev up. This is only game 3, guys. There's going to be mistakes. It's got to be mistakes. They're still learning. They're still getting better. But what I saw is a team that persevered. This game last year, they lose this game last year. They don't win this game last year. So the way how they were impressive and just being able to kind of bite down in mouthpiece and pull out a great win on the road and finally get that, that 0-win Big Ten, on the road type of stuff they had going on. They couldn't get no wins on the road. They kind of got that off, shaking off, got that monkey off your back and got a win on the road. And I think when you have a win like this kind of gives you more confidence now going on the road. Now certain things aren't going to bother you, as they would have before. Like, if you kind of go get behind early, you kind of start worrying about, okay, what's the scoreboard? Now they're not going to be shaken by that. They're going to know how to win. The biggest thing that I thought, which was huge, and this is something we all talked about from last year, guys, is the pass rush. Now you're getting pressure. So that forces the turnovers. I mean, we can't dismiss, okay, yeah, they were getting down there. I thought he was kind of playing like a, I don't want to say like a prevent defense, but it felt like that's what D'Anton Lynn was going. They were getting a lot of cushion to the receiver. So a lot of those underneath passes. But every time he was throwing the ball, he was under pressure. Every single time. So that's something that we were glad to see. I'm sure they're going to work out the kinks like they've been doing. It's only game 3. But I'm really, really, really excited. And guys, what can we say about Mayapa, right? Does he look like he's running this offense or what? He looks like a Lincoln Riley quarterback.
Now,
smooth, controlled. You know, it's great to see.
LV though, our guy Alex West here kind of brings up a point. They didn't score a touchdown in the second half. Field goals, and then Jarrett looking like a track star were the only points in that second half. They stalled there, you know. But while we're on, let's
I think they stalled him, but I think once again, right, they're still learning how to win on the road. This is only game 3. So for me, that's why I was happy with it, because even though they faced some adversity, they couldn't get it in the end zone, they still was able to bite down their mouthpiece and pull out a win. So these type of wins, you gotta like. It's gonna build grit, man. You gotta have wins like this, and so it builds confidence to where, like you said, Madman, you have this stuff on film to go back home to LA and say, okay, guys, this is what we got to get better with. But guys, you know, almost a 20-point win, man. On the road, people said we couldn't do it. I thought it was fabulous, man. What say you guys?
Jamal.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think really well said. I love the point about, I don't think this team wins this game last year. You know, this was feeling a little bit like Maryland. It was feeling a little bit like Minnesota, you know, sitting there at 20-10, sitting there at 30-17. You're like, you know, this is actually, they're just sort of a possession away here. And, you know, you're almost waiting, you know, you were bracing for the mistake there. So I think the maturity of this team to sort of come on the road and overcome, I think, is really, really huge. I think the area where I think we're going to need to see the growth and the progression is, can Maeva keep that level of composure and that level of confidence with the offense when there's a little bit more of a rush? You know, when he had a clean pocket, he was going through his progressions really smooth, really calm. He was keeping it when he needed to. He was going through his routes when he needed to. It's when Purdue kind of went away from that 3-3-5 and went away from, you know, kind of dropping 7, is when you saw there in that middle part of the third quarter, kind of latter part of the second half, some tip balls. There were some near interceptions there. Maeva started pressing a little bit. And so I think that's going to be the step offensively, is we understand when it's a clean pocket, you know, he's going to be super composed and he's running this offense seamlessly. Now, when you got more 4- and 5-man rush, you know, are you going to be able to sort of translate that? But all very teachable things, all part of the progression. And then I think defensively, opportunity really for that back end. You know, I think the linebacker play and the secondary play, taking the right angles, having gap integrity, wrapping up with tackles. And then, of course, an opportunity to clean up the penalties game. Still a little too many illegals, hands to the faces, a lot of offsides. So things to sort of clean up there, but all things that are correctable. You always want to be able to correct it with the win, and you progress very nicely. Look, at the end of the day, SC was a 20.5-point favorite here. They win by 16. So they pretty much answered the mail in terms of what they needed to do, and should be feeling really good about the 3-0 going into Michigan State.
Yeah.
Awesome. Agree. Jamal, I totally agree with that, man. I totally agree with that. I think the beauty of the Maeva piece, which, like you stated, was that these issues that he kind of had, like you stated, with the blitz, the only way he gets better from that is he's got to play, right? And so going through it this week and seeing exactly where he had issues at, that's the beauty of Lincoln Riley, because then you can say, okay, listen, this is something we had issues, but the only way he gets better, Madman, is what happened today. You got to go through it. You got to get out there. You got to face that. And so then we can look at the tape and kind of get better with that. But listen, guys, let me hop off so someone else can call. Tim, you're my guy. Fight on from the East Coast. Madman, you guys are great. Ryan, I love you as well. You guys are awesome, man. Let's keep it going. 3-0, baby. Fight on.
Fight on.
Yeah.
Make sure you're checking. Yeah, and make sure you're checking out his work. If you're a Knicks fan or if you're an NBA fan, go. If you're a Giants fan, or an NFL fan. If you're not checking out LV Live, it's LV Live on YouTube. Give him a look tomorrow. I'm sure
maybe like the smoothest voice on the East Coast.
Yes,
I mean, this sounds great. Just built for a microphone.
And a huge Trojan. I mean, huge Trojan. Yeah, LV's the greatest. He's always like stressing out or celebrate. You get my DMs, and I love hearing from LV all the time. And this point right here brought by Brian. They ran the ball in the fourth quarter and ran the clock. Thank you, coach. They did. They didn't get a touchdown at the end there, but they've been doing what we've been asking them to do. Run the damn ball when the other team needs to stop you and get off it. Just run it and work that clock down and get off the field. And they were able to get off with the field goal. And then going back to the field goal again, Ryan Sayeri was 4 of 5 on the night. the one blemish at
where'd this
37
kid come from? Looking good out there.
Yeah, he's kind of just came out of nowhere during COVID and came. Did he walk? I think it was most kickers are walk-ons. Walks onto the team and he's just been lights out last week, this week, all year long, really. Lucky I tweeted out. Someone said, "Are we to give him some respect?" And I did. I retweeted. I'm like, "Yeah, it was about time." Then I got nervous though, because then all of a sudden he started it was on the game started turning on his foot. It was on his foot to win this game. Yeah. I mean, let's face it, without his field goals, if he misses a couple of those, this is a whole different ball game.
Real quick, let me ask you guys this: like, they brought in Caden Chittenden, who transferred. When he's healthy, is it his job, or has Ryan Sayuri kind of taken the job over? Is he the kicker going forward?
I think that again, he hit 4. But that 37-yarder, you guys, you got to hit. That was a pivotal field goal.
I mean, he hit a 49-yarder.
He did hit a 49-yarder early in the game. But sometimes that your kicker, you need that guy that has ice water in his veins. And this is not. I mean, all great kickers miss field goals as well, and it happens randomly. But I'll say that one was kind of that's probably of all of his kicks tonight. I think that was his pressure, the most pressure on that field goal, and he hit the upright. And so I'm not going to say he hit 4 field goals and really helped this. He has, he and Bishop Fitzgerald have a big say in probably going for player of the game. John Jarrett's probably mad at us for saying this as well. That was a turning point in the game as well. But lots of great things.
Yes, I think, Tim, Ryan, to your point, I think it's going to be a battle. And look, I think, one thing I'll say is the ball comes out really clean off his foot. This isn't one of those where like they could get blocked or they're knuckleballs or, you don't really have confidence from a directionality standpoint. The 4 makes were crisp. And I'll say even the miss was crisp. Yeah. He just sort of sailed a little bit on him, needs a little bit more touch there. But even at the collegiate level, I think it's a hard ask, even when you're talking about 30 and 40-yard kicks, to go 5 for 5 at the collegiate level. The NFL is sort of a no-brainer. I think 4 for 5 is about the top end, at a collegiate level for a kicker. So I'd say if this performance continues, he's definitely K1, we'll call it, K1, moving forward.
Baby. K1
speed. And did you guys see on the miss, did you guys see, was it a clean snap? Was it a clean hold? I just saw them. I didn't pay attention to that. I just saw them. I just saw the miss.
Pulled it a tiny bit.
He pulled it
golf
a tiny
terms,
bit.
He just pulled it slightly. Turned his hips a little too quick.
Okay, so it was a clean hold.
The operation looked clean.
Upright. It wasn't one of those that was like really sail. It was high off the upright, maybe inner part of the upright. It didn't bounce to the left. It kind of bounced back. So it was really close. It was a good kick. It's just unfortunate there.
Yeah, I love him. I mean, I just think it's a great story. And like you said, man, I think it just looks so clean. I mean, everything is just like clean money down the middle.
Totally.
Compared to like last year, what we said, no disrespect to Dustin Lynch, great guy, or Dennis Lynch. But yeah, I think we got a viable, or not. That was 2 years ago. Obviously, last year was a different kicker, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Over an inch of rain before the game. So I mean, also turf. I mean, who knows a million? Again, yeah, I don't want to be too critical. I'm just saying that the one that he missed seemed like it was kind of the pucker up. We need this field goal kick, and that was the one that he pushed. That's before I get crucified. That's all I'm saying. Okay,
it's fair.
And then as far as a quarterback, let's go back to Jada Mayava. We know he throws a nice, clean ball, but those fades that he threw were just dropping dimes, and then like the seam, like you both talked about, to McCree, and for him to have the kind of confidence to throw that 50-50 ball to a true freshman and Tanuk Hines, and I knew Tanuk was more athletic than people are giving him credit for. He's not just a burner.
Yeah. That
dude climbed a ladder, high pointed that ball perfectly, and then also in the end zone, showing confidence again in him, and he went up, he tried to make that spectacular one-handed catch. He definitely, we're talking about before you got on, Jamal. I think we found our wide receiver 3.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the athleticism there, that I was so impressed, guys, with that jump ball in the first quarter, because, it's one thing to throw a ball when you're up in the fourth quarter with that spectacular, attempt, but third down, let's not forget, that was a third down early in the game. and that was a jump ball to Tanuk Hines, and he came and just grabbed it from the corner, and absolutely special there. And my God, if he came up with that ball in the fourth quarter, lefty, in the end zone, I mean, it seems like these guys are just topping each other one after the other. I mean, if he came down with that ball, I mean, is that above the Hudson catch last year? Is that above the Lane catch from, a couple of weeks ago? I mean, I would think so, to come up with the lefty like that. That was absolutely spectacular. So, Ryan, I know you and I had talked a bunch about wide receiver 3, and there was kind of a 3, 4, 5 pecking order, but the true freshman just showed so much athleticism here. I think there's no doubt we got a wide receiver 3, and he fits with Jaden. Jaden likes these guys who can go up and catch the ball, these 50-50 balls, be physical at the point of attack, and have a wider catch radius, because he's going to take his share of shots. So I think Tanuk really just fits that mold as well with his athleticism.
Did you guys, it's harder to see like on TV what rotations are happening. Like, did you see any other real wide receiver rotations out there? Obviously, Zacharias Williams and Prince Strawn were both out with injury. Yeah. But I didn't notice like Jay Fair, Jaden Richardson, or DJ Jordan even out there running around. Again, it's sometimes hard to tell on TV. It's much easier when you're at the game and you can see the guys coming in and out of the field. But did you guys notice any? Which I think, and I asked that question not in a disparaging way to those guys not getting on, but more of in a improvement, because I remember last year the big thing was like, man, this wide receiver rotation is too much. Just like stick with your guys. And it felt like from my visual that it's like, these are the 3 receivers, you got your 2 tight ends, and you got your 2 running backs. And like, this is the offense we're running with. So I don't know if you guys noticed anything differently.
I know that a couple of other receivers are actually said suit up, we're dinged up. So that might have something to do with it as well. But no, I'm not sure. Oh man, we just lost our call.
I think Ryan, you're spot on. I mean, even from a personnel standpoint, Lincoln designed his personnel packages probably 95% of the time around those 3 receivers. To your point, the 2 tight ends, because Walker Lyons had that big catch on 4th down too, on that really nice design where he had sort of the stack on the weak side. Yep. And then, what I loved is obviously it was Jordan and Sanders 1-2, but King Miller getting some key reps there, second half, and coming in and being RB3 there as that change of pace. So he's got his 8 playmakers, which is more in line with who he was at Oklahoma. For as much as we talked about him peppering the ball around, he had his core 6 or 8 playmakers. It's nice to see him going back to that formula.
Yeah. So to answer the question, only those 3 guys, receivers, they're the only ones with receptions, the 2 tight ends, and then all 3 running backs. Double check that. And then all 3 running backs had a catch as well, at least 1 catch as well.
Yeah. No, I love seeing King out there though. I mean, because that's the true meritocracy, right? Like walk on, but hey, he earned it. He earned his reps and he's getting playing time. Doesn't matter if he's on scholarship or not, which he should be soon. Hopefully we'll see an announcement soon.
We just missed a caller. I don't know if you heard me. I said, hang on 1 second. We'll get right with you as soon as they finish their thought. But we do have phone lines open, you guys, 888-997-4539. This is for you guys. Give us a call. Let us know your thoughts on the game, player of the game. What did you think about Jaden's performance? I mean, there were a lot of doubters that he could, why didn't we bring in a quarterback? And I think we're starting to see it. The decisiveness I talked about last 2 weeks, throwing the ball, but now on those read options, you guys, he's not hesitating. Matter of fact, I think one of them was really pretty much designed for him to take it to the end zone off that left side. It looked like almost a design run for him just to take it. And he did. And earlier in the game, he took the yards where he needed them. He only picked up 4 or 5 yards, but he wasn't hesitant. Last year, there were too many times where it looked like he wanted to kind of look for a throw more and not just, put his shoulder pads down and get that play. And then on a 3rd and 1, I tweeted out the fact that, when you need 1 yard on 4th and 1 or 3rd or 4th and 1, why not hand to a guy who's, 6'4", 230. I mean, that's the perfect thumper to give the ball to there. And it looked like nobody wanted any business, any part of that. And he picked up that 1st down. So I'm going to drop it one more time. I'll drop the StreamYard link in there again, because I don't know, maybe people are a bit shy on the StreamYard link. But it's there as well. So phone lines right there. Also, if you want to join us on the StreamYard link, go ahead and join us. Any other thoughts, you guys? I mean, I could talk all day, but wondering what you guys are thinking about. We talked the wide receivers, talked the running back room. Talk about Barry Odom. I mean, we got hats off to Barry Odom because, like we talked about, kept us out of the end zone and did make those adjustments. You're really that super X's and O guy Jamal, tell us, did you see anything differently he was doing in that second half that was able to keep USC out of the end zone?
Yeah, no, I mean, Tim, I think, like I mentioned, I think he was trying to avoid the big play in the first half. I think the approach there was, hey, I can't win the game in the first half, certainly, but I can certainly lose it. And so what I saw was a lot of 3-3-5, in that first half, and a lot of, 4 down linemen and then dropping 7 back. And while that worked in certain red zone situations, where and certain points in the field where there was sort of less space to operate, overall, I think what Odom realized is, look, Lane, Lemon, and Hines are just so good that regardless of how many guys you have back there, if you're not going to pressure the quarterback, ultimately that coverage is going to break down. And even if it doesn't break down, those 3 guys are capable of making some big plays. So I thought he brought more pressure from the defensive line perspective. And I think that really sort of helped change the game a little bit for him. But I'll be honest with you, Odom is a damn good coach, and you can see the difference already. This is a Purdue team that won 1 game last year. They've already doubled their win total. I think they're going to be a very competitive team in this conference moving forward. And, he's got them really rowing the right direction. And the other thing I'll say, guys, is Ryan Brown, their quarterback, is a very good player. And that's a guy who's got a chance to play on Sundays. Let me tell you, I mean, the throws that he was making and the decisions, Tim, to your point, the interceptions were forced, so we can't really knock him too much there. But, just the way the zip he was putting on the ball, those inside slants, those out routes, his ability to stand in the pocket, take punishment, and still complete balls, that was sort of an upper echelon quarterback that USC is going to play over the course of the Big Ten this year. So kudos to Ryan Brown and Barry Odom for a very sound scheme and very sound execution for the most part of this game.
Yeah, good point on Brown. And I mean, same can be said about, Clark. I mean, I think Clark was for Missouri State is going to be a better quarterback than some of the teams we're going to face this year. I would like to, though, see that secondary tighten up a little bit. But we have another caller. Are you guys ready? Hey, caller, are you there? Are you ready? Caller's having his own conversation.
I plan things with my friends,
Caller, are you there?
You and your friends.
Okay, I guess he's having a side conversation. Maybe we'll continue on until he's ready to talk. Ryan, your thoughts on Odom and the quarterback play of Brown?
Yeah, I mean, we said it kind of right before Jamal jumped on too. So, but yeah, I agree. I think Barry Odom's a fantastic coach. He has kind of, like I said earlier, to me, has that similar trajectory of like a Kurt Cinetti, obviously defense versus offense, but a guy that's just won everywhere he's gone and just built programs up. So, I think Purdue, and, we're going to give him credit. We played him, but I think Purdue is a solid football team. I'm not calling them like a world beater. They're not going to be Indiana this year and go all of a sudden make the college football playoff out of nowhere, but I think they could be a bowl team for sure. I think they're good enough. They had 60 transfers, 80 new players, whole new coaching staff. So it's just a different team completely from last year. So could see a turnaround. The one other thing I'll add to that, and this is not any, I totally agree with you, Madman, how that Purdue and Barry Odom's defense was running this 3-3-5 stack. And it was giving Maava fits kind of in that third quarter range of just like when there was like 3rd and long, couldn't complete a pass. And then late in the fourth quarter, if you remember, that when they went for it on 4th down and he was able to go through his progressions because realizing it's a 3-man rush, there's not going to be pressure on me.
Yeah, and he
take his time and found Lemon just sitting wide. I don't know how he was so open with 8 guys in the secondary. I don't know how he's so open, but Lemon's wide open for the first down. So kudos to Maava for taking the game, what they gave him, progressing as they went on and improving there. So sounds like, is our caller ready, Tim? I see you talking to him.
Yeah, that was abrupt. That was an abrupt stop there. No, we're good. Yeah, I was talking to just make sure he's ready. He was having some stuff going, having a side conversation. So I just want to make sure he's ready, but he is ready. Caller, hi, what's your name? Where are you going from?
Hey, Tim, what's up, man? Keith from Irvine. I'm sorry about that.
Keith.
To the wife here about how USC dominated. Yes, sir.
Keith's a VIP. This guy is.
Look, I'm excited to see you next week, Tim. Section 117 is going to be lit.
I know where you are.
Game. And guess what? This team looks great. I think we're playoff bound. That's all I would say.
I think Keith's the only caller that actually have a photograph of, because he and his crew always say hello to me whenever I go to the tunnel end zone. He's that whole section is wonderful. Keith, appreciate you a lot.
Love that.
Fight on, baby. Fight on.
Fight on, Keith.
Oh, that was a quick one.
Thanks for
Jamal, what
calling.
are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I need to sort of see a little bit more on that projection kind of growth curve there, to sort of proclaim this a playoff team. But look, I had this team going 9-3, either just in or just out of the college football playoff, and no reason to sort of change or deviate from that in any way. So I think this is a team that's going to be threatening one of those last spots, no question about it. And I think it's about health. And I think it's about continued improvement there, and kind of how Mayava maintains that composure with more significant pass rush and kind of bigger bodies on that defensive line will ultimately determine what side of that CFP line we are on.
Okay, Ryan.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think no reason
yeah.
to deviate at all in terms of kind of the projection of what this team can do. So I know we got a caller on, and we also got Real Talk with Brian in the StreamYard studio. So whoever you want to go to first.
We're blowing up in a couple right here. We'll get the phone first, and I'll be right with Brian in a second here. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Roland Hines, calling from Houston, Texas.
Well, I knew I'd hear from you, Mr. Hines, because I do remember you calling me even before most people knew who Tanuk was. And you telling me, geez, when was that? When was that call? A year ago?
Long time ago. Yeah, long time ago.
I've been waiting for this call, and this is the perfect time for you to call in. So crow about it. I want to hear all about him.
Hey, well, what you want to hear? He's one of those that wants to prove it. He don't want you to give it to him. That's why when he threw that 50 ball, you saw him climb that ladder. He went to the top of the roof and he jumped off. He wants to show you what he got, and he's doing that.
Yeah, there's something.
He takes the top off the defense. When he takes top off the defense, he's standing out there jumping jacks, hit him once in a while.
There's something about when we see a true freshman and coming from they brought in all those transfers in. Everyone in the media saying it's either gonna be Prince Strawn, right? He's gonna have it, or any one of the other like veteran guys. And out of nowhere, they say, and when they released the first depth chart, you guys, they say Tanuk Hines, and we saw it. We saw flashes of his quickness, right? In the first game, he didn't get a whole lot of looks, but I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, but I said he spent no time introducing himself to the Big Ten and USC fans in this game by high pointing that ball. That was a masterful catch.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yep. I mean, he's ready to play. He wants to play. No matter what you ask him to do, he'll do. I know you see him throwing them blocks. He's taking off. He's running every route they tell him to run because that's the way he is. He wants to help his team any way he can. If you throw him the ball, he's going to go get it. He's going to sacrifice himself and whatever he has to get that. But helping the team, because he's part of it, get to another level is ingrained in him, period.
Yeah, I mean, I like, he reminds me, it was very early, and I'm not saying he's winning a Blitnikoff, but he kind of reminds me of Marquise Lee a little bit. Just the way when he gets the ball in his hands, and he's just so smooth and quick that I've been excited in the first game. But I don't know, Jamal, what do you think about? He showed a different side of his game. He showed his athleticism in this one. Yeah, no,
Mr. Hines, this is such a great point. I mean, obviously we got kind of a taste of it with some more traditional routes, I'll call it, and it's sort of an inside bubble, in the last game. But this was, where we got to really sort of showcase all of his athleticism and the wingspan and the catch radius. And what I love about him is not just the talent and the ability to make plays as a true freshman, but there's a swagger and there's a confidence and there's a way that he carries himself on the field and in the huddle and the way he runs his routes. I mean, he absolutely knows that he belongs as a true freshman. There's no kind of true freshman jitters or anything like that. There's sort of a confidence and a swagger to him that makes you remind us of all the USC greats of the past. And the sky's the absolute limit here, because let's be honest, Mr. Lemon and Mr. Lane are headed to that draft in April, and so this is very much Tanuk Hines' wide receiver room potentially 9, 10, 12 months from now.
You know what I loved about his game today?
that-
Sorry, real quick. What I loved about his game, his best play, in my opinion, was the block he had in
Yep.
the open field on the outside, springing the runner to get an extra 8, 9, 10 yards. When you have receivers that want to block, that doesn't only translate at college, but that's what gets you drafted high. You look at the Los Angeles Rams right here in LA. Like, if you want to be in the Sean McVay offense, you better know how to block. And Tanuk Hines showed that today. So I thought his best play was that block on the outside. That was fantastic.
And he's been downfield. You all, on those long touchdown runs, you always see 16 running down the field with them. So that's been refreshing to see as well. He's just racing down the field. So you can tell. Remember the no blocky, no Rocky. I mean, that's not just for the running backs. I bet you that also applies out to the wideouts as well. Anything else for us, Mr. Hines?
Yep. That swagger comes from his older brother who played at the University of Hawaii. He was a wide receiver. And they would go heads up all the time. Can you do this? Can you make this catch? Can you run this route? And his middle brother was the quarterback. They would always get on him. They would always talk about him, make him push him harder, until he just had enough. And he said, no, this not going to stop. And he gave up certain things coming up to be better than them. And he's still pushing to do that now.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And the brothers will always, there's always that competition. And depending, especially the closer the brothers' ages are to each other, then you get that competition or looking up to your older brother. Always a good thing. Well, Mr. Hines, appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for your time. And I don't think this is going to be the last time we're going to have an opportunity to celebrate about Tanuk and having a great game. But from the get-go, he started his game. I think he had something he wanted to show everybody, and he certainly did it. So appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Hope you call again.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
One last thing before we go.
Yeah.
One last thing. When he gets that touchdown, I'm probably going to break the television.
Well, don't do that. This is last game of the season.
Right now, no, I got 3 of them. I can sacrifice one. I just want to see that touchdown.
It should be broken right now. He had that one today that was going to be SportsCenter top 10. So I wish you had broken your TV today.
I saw it. Trust me, I saw it.
Well, I
Yes,
think
sir. I saw that one.
He's going to get it for sooner than later. I guarantee if he keeps playing like this. Great call. Thank you so much, Mr. Hines. We'll catch you soon. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Fight on.
All right, dude. Fight on.
Great call. Hey, Brian, thank you so much for waiting. Let me hold on. Jimmy, hold on 1 second. We got a call ahead of you. If you can hang on for a minute, we got you next. Okay. Yep. All right. Hang on 1 second, Jimmy. All right. Brian's been waiting for a while. Brian, hi. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm so good. I'm so happy. How are you?
We're hey, listen.
Well,
road win. You got to be happy, right?
Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, like
Got
we
some
came in.
whiskey, good to go.
We came into the city. Came into this season like with questions, and one by one, we're getting answers to these questions. Do these boys have heart? Can they find a way to win on the road? Will they play for each other? You guys were just talking to the last caller. The unselfishness that we're seeing amongst the defensive line and the wide receiver room and the running back room is inspiring, bro. It's inspiring.
Yeah. The competition, I think, in that running back room is going to be amazing. I think that receivers are going to push each other because those veterans they didn't transfer over here just to sit on the bench. So that's going to continue. Man, watching Lake, because there's a lot of 12 personnel. So with Lake and Lions both out there at the same time, it's been really great to watch them and their play together. But those guys, that room's so tight, and they're working together so well. The questions, there's a couple of questions I do have, though. I'm still going to say it. It did seem like at times we ran well at the end of the game, at the end of the quarter, and at the end of the game and at the end of the half. But it seemed like early on, did you guys also see it? It just seemed like we had a tough time really running between the tackles in this much more. And obviously, we're looking at the competition difference, but it just seemed like we weren't as quick. It just they're a step slow. Could be the turf. Could be the layover, could be the travel, could be all those things. But I'd be lying to all three of you if I didn't say that I was had a little bit of concern. I think that they wore them down late in the game, which was very helpful. And that's why I was glad I tweeted out that I was glad that he's sticking with the run, especially inside the 10-yard line. He stuck with the run, which was really refreshing to see. And then he ran the game out like we talked about already. But did you guys, like Jamal, did you notice that as well?
Yeah, I mean, particularly Wayman Jordan, kind of struggled in between the tackles. And I think back to the schematics, I think, Purdue did a really nice job of shooting the linebackers in the gap. And I think they basically said, look, we're going to shoot the linebackers A gap, B gap, C gap, and, sort of take our chances. And if we miss at the line of scrimmage, it's going to be a really big gain on the back end. But that's how we're going to sort of account for it. And I think they saw something in film. We've talked a lot about Wayman Jordan's just, squishiness and, the small tackle radius that he gives you, given that unique body type. And I think what you saw from Purdue was sort of really shooting the gaps and not allowing him to sort of be on top of you flat-footed, and then you're at his mercy in terms of the move. So it was very intentional there, I think, from Purdue to sort of limit that. And then I think, Tim, to your point, spot on. We wore them out over the course of the game, particularly that last drive where things really opened up. But I thought Eli Sanders provided a really nice change of pace because, again, I think Sanders sort of his natural instinct is to sort of stretch a play and then he'll stay on the outside or then make the one cut back in, whereas Jordan likes to sort of explore his options a little bit more. And so when you're shooting a gap, but you're sort of racing to the edge, that effectiveness goes away, and then Sanders can sort of dig his cleats in, make one cut, and then sort of open up there. So I think that was a little bit of a cat and mouse with the running back room a little bit. But yes, that middle part of the game for sure, it was some tough sledding rushing at times.
And Ryan, I mean, you saw it too. Early in the game, there was this one play in particular I remember. You saw Sanders kind of really patient with his running, letting his block set up. And then as soon as he got to where he wanted, it's like they shot him out of a cannon. He went up the left side and made, I think it was like about a 20-yard run. Mm-hmm. But that's what it is. Every time that guy gets the ball, in my mind, like I know it felt like every time that Sanders got the ball, he was going to pick up 15 to 20 yards. I mean, not Sanders. Jordan was going to get 10 to 15 yards. But then Sanders, it seems like to me, they're like, without that ankle tackle, that he like, it just seems like he's one step away from being gone all the time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm curious, Brian, since you're in here, what were your thoughts on the run game? Because I would love to hear for you.
Honestly, I thought the run game was really more about our offensive line. I think that when we were clicking, it was because Riley was showing confidence in his play calling in his offensive line. And I think that's the reason why they were picking up those gaps and we were picking up those yardage. And a lot of it was the decision making of the running backs, what they were seeing and what they chose to do with their first reads. And I think that that's a good sign for our offensive line that our coach showed faith in them. I think it'll get better. I'm walking away from this feeling good about the offensive line. I really am. I liked what I saw progressively. Anyone who's ever played football or played on the offensive line or defensive line, it's a chemistry thing. It's a communication thing, and I could totally feel like it building throughout the course of the game, and that they were gelling as the game went by. There are other things that I'd like to talk about if you guys are open to it.
Please.
I really want your guys' take on. I mean, I noticed we are still getting amazing pressure off our edges, and I liked our push that we were getting from the defensive tackles tonight much better than in games past. But I do not understand why we are still playing so soft in the secondary. What do you guys attribute that to?
Yeah, whoever wants to go. Who wants to go?
I've been talking the whole time. Go ahead. I'm taking up all the air in the room. Go ahead.
It's a great question because I think we all would love an answer. I'm gonna try to be at practice this week, and we'll see Dan Lynn on Wednesday. I don't know if it's this scheme he's running right now as they're still trying, like, figuring things out. Obviously the secondary, they've had a rotation trying to find their best 5 back there or whatnot. I don't know if they think the defensive line can just get home quick enough that soft shell, and they just don't want to give up that big play over the top. But yeah, they're playing so soft in the secondary. Like it's crazy to me because honestly, the defensive line, edges and interior, I think are getting plenty of pressure. I mean, they were in the backfield. We talked about earlier. They were in the backfield all game long. It felt like, and
Yes.
when you know this scheme, they did a lot of stunts too with getting Cam Fountain coming through the middle. You have some linebacker blitzes. They even had that Kamari Ramsey safety blitz that obviously led to the Jaw Jarrett touchdown. So I think schematically, in terms of the front seven and the pass rush, like I loved everything about it. The secondary playing so soft. I don't know if it was just because they're like trying to be aggressive on the front end, so they don't want to give up anything on the back end. I don't know if it's a trust thing. I don't know if Chasen Johnson still isn't like fully healthy and they don't feel comfortable with DJ Harvey and others. So I don't have a good answer for you. That is something that we'll need to see fixed, because even in week 1 last year against LSU, the secondary played tighter. They were all up in those receivers in that week 1 Las Vegas game against LSU. So seeing how soft they played today it was interesting. So I don't know what you think, Tim and Jamal, but that's something that we'll want to see improve for sure.
My word was frustrated. Frustrating. Nothing interesting about it. They weren't rewarding that pass rush. So I agree with you. I mean, the defensive tackles were getting upfield. You know what I mean? They were causing trouble themselves up in the middle, making just scramble left, right, and center. So I'm surprised. Any thoughts on that yourself, Jamal? Like, are we worried about them, getting beat deep? It didn't seem like that. It didn't seem like when they were on the man-to-man, they were getting beat deep at all. So I don't know why they were so off and during the game.
It felt like they were taking wrong angles. I think that, it was sometimes the missed tackles on the back end are a function of tackling angles. And it just felt like they were either, too on top of a guy's hip, or, they gave up inside leverage very, very consistently. That sort of RPO inside slant that Purdue ran, they were able to really sort of use that pretty consistently over the course of the game. So giving up that inside leverage, they were a little bit flat-footed. Also, even on some of those runs, with Huckabee kind of coming off of the counter, they were a little bit flat with the angles as well. So I think it's some field positioning, but I think this is where you made a great point, Brian, about gelling on the offensive line. I think this is where D'Anton Lynn is going to have to focus and tighten the rotation, because I think this is where, when you got too many guys playing in the secondary, I think the lack of comfort and the chemistry and the continuity is, I think, starting to make an impact here, where I think you got to sort of reduce this rotation and allow guys to kind of get more comfortable with each other, understand their tendencies, and be able to play off one another, because it just felt like it was very hit or miss. Every play felt like an independent event with the secondary. They just couldn't seem to sort of get any sort of continuity. So I would expect D'Anton Lynn to simplify the scheme on the back end. That's sort of a go-to for him anytime his defenses will struggle. And then I expect him to reduce the rotation in the secondary moving forward to see who's his best guys. And for better or for worse, let's just get some continuity going here moving forward.
And there was a lot of rotation last year as well. I mean, there was at UCLA though. Jamal, was there a rotation in secondary like we've seen at USC last year and the beginning of this year?
I mean, it was deep, to a certain extent, but Lynn, by about game 3, game 4, kind of went with his, I'll call it, top 6 guys, and he sort of used that first quarter of the season to say, okay, who are my top 6? And that's going to be my primary rotational pieces. And I think, this is game 3. So right at that quarter point of the regular season. So I would expect against Michigan State, we see a much tighter secondary rotation.
Yeah, because there were 2 plays. Oh, sorry. There are 2 plays, one Williams and one Nicholson, where they got their hips turned the wrong way and got spun out of a play. Like
ran into each other.
They ran into each other. Yeah.
And it just after both of them playing lights out the first 2 games, it just seemed like something was like just off with the secondary. That's why I was curious about it.
I'm waiting. I tend to agree with Madman about the personnel. I think it's a comfort thing with Dan Lynn with his personnel. I think it's a communication between who's on the field, and that should shore itself up when the rotations get shorter. I'm waiting for an alpha dog to show up in the defense of secondary, because when one shows up, the communication between them will kick over itself, and they can start to read without having to like talk. Like when we had a true alpha back there, and like Troy Polamalu back in the day, when he decided he was going to do something, the other guys knew it and they reacted, and they didn't have to communicate. And I'm thinking, honestly, I'm going to have to go rewatch this film, but I'm thinking that Kamari Ramsey not being in his alpha dog spot is the reason why this is happening. And I think it could just be a personnel thing because we don't have a true nickel. But that I can't say for certain.
Yeah, I mean, I'll quickly, and then I know we have another call waiting too, Tim, but I would agree with that. I think we're seeing in real time, while I still believe the secondary is deep, the losses of Prophet Brown and Alex Graham are actually like fairly substantial, at least in terms of being, those were the nickel guys, right? Like those were going to be your slot, star, nickel, money, whatever you want to call it, depending on the package. And that would allow Ramsey to be that alpha on the back end. But when you don't have trust in the third best nickel, you're going to put your best secondary player in the nickel, which is Kamari Ramsey. So, Prophet's out for a while. Graham, we still don't really know what's going on. It seems like it might still be a couple weeks, but we don't really know much on that. So we could be stuck with Ramsey in the nickel for now until they get those injury guys back. But yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah, it's like if we had Jalen Smith back there, I know he's gone, but if Jalen was playing nickel right now, I think we wouldn't be having this conversation. I really don't. I don't want to pick on the secondary too much because I think in time it'll sort itself out.
Yeah.
What I do want to throw stones at, though, is what is going on with tackling inside the box. We had some missed tackles tonight.
Yeah.
Bad angles, bad wraps, running back getting lost. It was a little disconcerting.
We have to remember again. So with the linebackers and with those corners, with the exception of Nicholson, you got guys that are young, they're new, they're getting reps. So there's going to be growing pains. We want them to be all of a sudden just veterans, not missing. But yeah, no, form tackling and making tackles. There were a couple plays were very clear. I don't have to call out names where they're just not driving through the tackle. It's a bit soft. And you got to wrap up. You cannot allow a guy you miss a tackle and then the guy's down the field 10, 15, 25 yards because you don't wrap up. Especially as a linebacker, there's no excuse for that. Absolutely. Brian, thank you so much. We got to move on, but appreciate you calling as always. Great call as always. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you, brother.
Take care.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, man.
All right, bye.
Brian being the first StreamYard call in quite a long time. Appreciate him. All right, caller. Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Thank you. By the way, and also thank you so much for waiting.
No problem. It's Jimmy calling from the DC area. When I called in on Wednesday, I said I wanted the guys to come out and have a workmanlike performance. And, Lincoln Riley really should be happy, not just because he got the win. It's logistically, you had a ton of problems, right? You have crappy weather. You end up getting, this 3-hour delay. The offense isn't particularly clicking all that great. You need this early in the season to show what kind of team you've got. And you got it for free. You didn't have to take a loss to get this. So in some ways, while it wasn't the greatest performance, this is what you need because the season is not going to be perfect. And you need to see how guys are going to respond to, not having the greatest day or not having the perfect setup for your day. And people always, pick on West Coast teams and say, you guys play in perfect weather all the time. You don't know how to play in weather. It wasn't snow. It wasn't, freezing weather, but it wasn't great weather either. And they went out and they did what they had to do. Again, there are a lot of things you can quibble with. And I don't know that there are probably some orange flags, definitely, maybe 1 or 2 red flags, but they got done what they needed to get done. They won a game. Lincoln was able to get the monkey off his back. So I think all of this, it was workmanlike enough.
Yeah, there are some concerns, but I think there's just as many like bright spots as well. none more than the way that they stuck to the run, even though they're having some issues running the ball, they still stuck to it. Jamal, what are your thoughts on maybe orange flags or red flags that we haven't talked about already?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just sort of address the initial point. I mean, we've been sort of waiting for this version of Lincoln Riley for the better part of 3 years now. This ability to kind of go on the road, deal with adversity when things aren't perfect, to be able to stick to the run. Look, I mean, it was 40 runs today to 28 throws. So, it clearly was an emphasis to be able to wear this team down in the second half and be methodical and be workmanlike. Obviously, there's going to be questions at this point in the season, but there's no team in the country right now that doesn't have questions at this point in the season. You could talk from Ohio State to Penn State to Texas to Oregon to everybody has questions at this point in the season. It's just the nature of where we are in this particular season. And so obviously we've talked about, Mayava's progression of the secondary, more consistent play out of linebackers, want to see maybe a little bit more physicality with the interior of the defensive line, offensive line continuing to gel. But overall, I think we all have to be exceptionally pleased by what we saw today and the manner in which we saw it. And this is a perfect kind of stepping stone now getting into sort of the meat of the Big Ten schedule. And I think overall, I saw a poise from Lincoln Riley for 4 quarters. I saw a poise from Jaden Mayava for 4 quarters. And I really saw a poise from this entire roster. That Purdue crowd kind of showed out, particularly in moments. It got to 20-10. It got to 30-17. You were like, man, Purdue's kind of got a puncher's chance here. It's hard to believe. It felt like SC dominated the whole game. Felt like, oh, man, maybe Purdue's got a puncher's chance late in the game. They were really unflappable. They sort of just went next play and executed. And I think that more than anything is the thing we should be really excited about. There weren't a ton of peaks. There weren't a ton of valleys. And I think that level of stability is what you're looking for, particularly as you get into October and November of Big Ten play.
Yeah, you're muted, Ryan.
Well stated.
I am muted. I was just saying, yep, I agree. Sorry.
Yeah. Anything else for us, Jimmy?
I think that was well stated. Yep. I think that was well stated what Jamal just said. And I'll just wrap it up with this and say it's going to be a week-to-week slug for this team as they try to figure out who they are. So I would tell all the fellow fans, Lincoln Riley doesn't necessarily deserve patience, but be patient with the team while they kind of sort all of this out. And that, just remember, week to week, it's just going to have to be a growing and maturation process. Fight on, guys.
Fight on. Great call.
Bro.
And I think it's going to be that process where you're going to see these young players, like you saw Jakeem Stewart just absolutely he played great. If they weren't hanging on to him the entire game, he's going to get a couple of sacks. It just felt like to me there's a lot of holding going on. And then I have that holding call against Jakeem Stewart, the defensive, they called holding on a defensive tackle. I mean, and then they show the replay and it's absurd. There's like nothing there. So I still don't think that the Big Ten officials understand what holding is on either anywhere. Someone's got to sit them down and explain this. Like you can't wrap your arm, you can't get your arms all the way out here, you can't bear hug like you saw at the goal line at Michigan. This is called holding. It seems like
They just pick and choose. Like, it feels like we haven't thrown a flag in a little bit. Let's call holding this time. Like. It's kind of like, have you guys know any police officer friends, or like my brother's a cop and they tell you like, technically we could pull you over like whenever we want because there's always a violation. Like it feels like that's what holding is the Big Ten. They could call it on every play, but they kind of just pick and choose like, we'll call it this time. But it happened to only be against USC for some reason.
Like with holding, I think it's be like other things where they're trying to enforce. They should just pick one aspect of holding they're going to call for that game. You're not going to break it down and call every holding call, but like the egregious ones, like when you're literally the first drive of the game, I think it was Cam Fountain got
he was tackled.
Did you see that play? He got freaking tackled. No flag, but we're gonna throw a flag against Jakeem Stewart for holding in the middle of the defensive line. I've
got a theory on this, and it's you guys are sort of spot on. I actually think that they call holding more on teams that are more penalty prone in other areas. Like, I think if you're getting more offside plays, illegal hands to the face plays, PIs, there's more of a disposition to call holding on those teams than teams that are playing relatively clean across the board, because it's so inconsistent. To your guys' point, there's no like definition of holding. I actually think that's what's going through their mind, where it's like, this has been a less disciplined effort from this team, so it must be holding if there's sort of a 50-50 call. But it's been a fascinating adjustment indeed these last 2 years.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm learning the new definition of holding every single game with the Big Ten crew.
I think there is a definition, Tim. To your point, there probably isn't one.
Hang on one second, caller. What makes me mad is it penalizes a team that has outstanding, rush ends or defensive ends, because it negates their physical. Now, I will tell you, last year I was happy because I think our tackles were struggling, and so after the Michigan game, once they learned you can grab on for dear life, we saw a little more pass protection. But this year especially, it just seemed like, when we say, oh, well, Lucas is just one step behind, it's because he's getting held on every single play, and I think it negates the pass rush. I think that if they had to call holding on these teams, that no one's gonna be able to stop this SC defensive line. I mean, I was just looking at Shelby and Fountain, Boucard on the inside. I mean, the level of athleticism we now have. They get off of Stewart. I mean, the strength inside. Like John Jarrett was actually, on his few chances he was getting upfield. So that was good to see. But
yeah,
hopefully they figure it out, right? Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
They won't.
This is Alan, Trojan in Hawaii. I haven't called in a while. I used to call way back when.
I do remember you, Alan. How you doing?
So, well, hanging in there. Since I was at work today, so I missed a lot of the games. But every break I got, I ran to the TV so I can catch something. But the one thing that really signaled a big improvement in Jaden was that 4th and short that he had Hines look like he was wide open on the fly pattern, and he chose to take the first down to Mackay. I thought that was just brilliant. And that's just that. And then the fact that they ran the clock out in the fourth quarter, this is not a team this is nothing compared to last year or the year before. This is a team that can get better and better every game. And if we do that, get a little more discipline, we're going to be right in it. I mean, 11-2 is not out of the question if we get better or we don't shoot ourselves in the foot.
We are without a doubt much better in the trenches. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we saw at the end of the game today. And that's what we're seeing, controlling the line of scrimmage for the most part. Now we'll see when we play, Michigan and we play Oregon, and the lines get a little more talented, but these aren't cream puffs. I mean, we're going up against Division I players, and we're looking, Jamal, the way they should look in the trenches.
No, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And I thought that was a great point about Mayaba's decision there on that 4th down, because I think what it showed was a maturity that he understood time, score, and situation. He's going to take his shots. But if you notice today, a lot of the shots that he took were on first down. About over 80% of his deep shots were on first down. So, there's sort of a recognition of, hey, I've got some momentum. What's special about first down is you have the greatest amount of plays after that to kind of get your next first down. But second is you probably just got a play that got you the first down on the previous play. So you got momentum, you got a defense on their heels. So the fact that he's understanding, look, first down is probably where I need to take a lot of my shots, and then understand where to sort of pepper the deep ball and then when to go underneath. That's the sign of maturity and growth. And to Lincoln Riley's credit, that's what he said in the offseason. He said the two things that I've really seen in terms of the jump has been A, decisiveness. And I know, Tim, that's been a common theme for you tonight. And B, just sort of his leadership and his poise. And I think that's what we're seeing here. And that ability to get on the road and beat a Big Ten team. Look, winning a conference game on the road, you always want to pop the champagne. Doesn't matter who it is. And so, this was a really big step in the right direction this year.
They talked about that in the offseason, about taking that single, right? Choking up, going oppo to right field if you have to, instead of swinging for the fences every time. And you're right. I think that's a great pickup, Alan. And I agree with Jamal. Ryan? Poor Ryan goes last. We all talk about everything. We leave him nothing on the plate. Are they on the bone left for you?
Nothing on the bone. Nothing. I just get the scraps, a few pieces of strawberries that are left on the outside of the platter that are just there for garnishes. But no, I agree. Alan, thanks for the call. Only 5 p.m. in Hawaii, so you're looking good. You got the whole night ahead of you. Like
There
the rain
you
delay
go.
did nothing
Sun's
for
still
you.
shining. God.
Yeah.
Saturday night, SC got a
here trying to
win.
find the
It's
replay of the
Alan's
game so I
world.
can
We're
watch
just
it.
living in it at this point.
Alan, don't you have YouTube TV? That
And
solves
well-
everything for you. Just college football,
I
fire
do,
and
but
forget.
It takes time. It doesn't come up right away.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
it doesn't come up right away. So it'll come up. I'll find it in a little bit. But hey, Ryan, are you drinking bourbon or scotch?
Bourbon. I'm a bourbon guy. Jim Beam. I'm a simple man.
Okay.
I'm a simple man.
I'm a scotch guy.
Okay, what's your favorite scotch?
Looks good. Anyway, Balvenie.
Okay, yeah, I've had
And
that.
I have a friend who brought me a bottle from the Scottish. It's called it's called the Scotch Whisky Society. It's a membership club in Scotland. He brought me this bottle that you can't buy, just anywhere. And what was really cool was that every cask has this different name. So you can't, it's something that's a kind of a rare bottle. And I'm looking forward to cracking that open. He just gave it to me yesterday. So I'm going to bust that bugger open and have a taste. But anyway, guys, thanks very much. And I've gotten so tired of being heartbroken for the last 7 or 8 years. And to see how they played today and the potential, because, the first two, they weren't really tests, but today was the first minor test. And as long as we improve and tighten everything up, we're going to be able to compete with everybody we play, and we're going to scare them. And I'm looking forward to that. This is, I'm hopeful for an awesome season. I've been prepared for disappointment because that's all I've had the last 7 or 8 years. But I'm more excited now than I've ever been. This is the potential. What they showed on the field was like both lines of scrimmage played well. We got too many weapons for anybody to cover us. You're right about the defense. The secondary needs to tighten up, but I think they will. Like Madman, like you said, that when they shorten the rotation, they'll be more in sync with each other. I'm just super excited. We're gonna have a good year.
Love it.
Yes, we will, Alan. Great call. Thank you so much again.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks for finding us again.
Thank
But
you.
the season started.
I will call back,
Enjoy Hawaii. God, we're
Yeah.
all jealous.
I will be back. I will be
Enjoy
back, sir.
Hawaii, Tim. Come on.
Right. Take
Does
care,
that
guys.
need to be said?
Yeah. Enjoy your nice new scotch that you got from the Skull and Bones secret membership in a nice Waikiki beach or something.
Sitting there on the beach in Hawaii, drinking his scotch.
Yeah.
Tim-
I mean, we're
Tim
all
is-
in
Tim
we're
is
all in
starring the
SoCal.
next
It's not like we're
Captain
in.
Obvious commercial. Enjoy Hawaii,
I always laugh though, like obviously Hawaii is like a step up, but like we live in SoCal. Like it's not like we're in West Lafayette with like a lightning.
Oh,
or
wow.
anything like that.
Shots fired
Yeah,
from
you know.
Mr. Dairoot.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, when I heard pregame that there were chances of hail during the game, I started going, oh God, like I hate when you go to a Midwest game and they say this is football weather. I'm all this is crap weather. However you want to wrap this up and make it seem like it's wonderful, or just the way the game's supposed to be played. If the game was supposed to be played, in horrible inclement weather, then you wouldn't have the forward pass. I mean, I don't understand why they get excited. I do understand why Notre Dame grows their grass like 5 feet high and prays for rain when they play the Trojans, because often USC has a superior speed and athletes. But that's not football weather. That's just crappy weather. And I'd love to hear from the chat if you agree with me, or in the comment section. Ryan, did you have any kind of promotions you want to do before we get out of here?
there we go. Way to set me up.
I mean, I was gonna be
missed it
subtle
last
about it,
time.
but last time I was subtle, it did work.
Yeah, why not? I'll throw on a sleeper. Hopefully everyone's heard a sleeper by now. Here's a little secret if you haven't. It's more than just a platform for season-long fantasy football leagues. They got live stats. They got the news feed, real-time chat. We'd rather you just be on here with us chatting, but if you want to be on Sleeper, you can chat with other fans during NFL, NBA, college football, all of it. It's the #1 sports app today. Plus, when you download the app and you put your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USCLAFB. They're going to match your first deposit up to $100. So you put in $100, they're going to match you with a free $100. And they got the live pick'em game, which is my favorite thing to do. I won tonight, boys, taking the more or less on Jade Mayaba's total yards. more or less on Jacoby Lane's total yards. You got to pick 2 to 8 players across any sport. Just pick more or less and you can win real money. So Sleeper, download that. Use the promo code USC LAFB. Thank you, Tim, for teeing that up for me, good friend.
And I forgot, I mean, speaking of good friends, Slap Happy, I wouldn't let this one go. Trust me, I'm not.
I teed you up and put it up there like 20 minutes ago, but
I know
you can read it now.
We lost like 3 phone calls, and it's been. By the way, thank you all so much for being here. I mean, there's lots of. I think it's like everyone has a call-in show these days. When I first started doing this, I was like pretty much the only one doing it. But now there's like 1 million, so we appreciate all you guys here checking out our call-in show. All the road games, except for Nebraska and Notre Dame, but I'm sure someone will be running it. I'll be at those games, but the other road games will be going live at the end of the game or right after the game. So make sure you're here, and appreciate all you guys doing. And if you could, if you go ahead and like and subscribe, if you get a moment, if you like the show so far. I mean, a lot of you guys, we have 700 people on right now between Twitter and YouTube. Appreciate you guys all being here. If you're over on Twitter, make sure you're following up LAFB USC channel. If you could, appreciate you guys. But Slap Happy, $5. Thank you so much. We were rough tonight. Better play is expected. Yeah, I think it's going to be better, but again, road win, Slap Happy, those have been tough to come by. We talked about it. They haven't had a road win since, what was it again? 2012. Is that 13 years? East of Colorado?
Eastern Standard Time. First Eastern Standard Time win since Mr. Barkley chucked 6 touchdowns against Syracuse.
Right. And so, and also they've been against the Big Ten, unless it was a road game, in Los Angeles, which technically really, I mean, do we call that really a road game? Not sure. Someone asked earlier, by the way, on that note, really quickly, what's going on with Sean Foster? So I think, Jamal, you might know. Some fans out there might want to know if you have any skinny.
Yeah, I mean, keep an eye out on next 24 to 48 hours. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, he did not. He had a look in his eye at the end of that Nevada game, he's pretty much resigned to what's going to be coming down the pipe for him. So, okay, well, listen, again, thank you guys all so much for being here. Appreciate every one of you. Again, like I said, you have plenty of choices, making us. One of them is really appreciated. Be sure you're checking out all of the stuff we get out here at LAFB every day. We will be at the game. I know I'll see Keith from Irvine, but if you guys out there, say hello. Appreciate seeing all the fans out there. We'll be at the game. Michigan State did not look great, guys. You want to talk about that before we get out here really quickly? You want to touch on that?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys catch any of that?
8 p.m. kickoff, too. That'll be delightful. How did the Pac-12 Dark follow us to the Big Ten? How did that happen?
It's just that money slot, you know what I mean? And I think we're gonna get stuck with it when you play like the Purdue, or you're gonna play Michigan State.
It's crazy, Tim, that Pac-12 After Dark, at least Pac-12 After Dark was 7:30. Now they bumped it even 30 minutes more, 8 p.m.
Not just that, but what if you were at East Lansing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 hours later. So we could play about 8. They're watching this game at 11 o'clock at night.
But it works kind of both ways, right? I mean, we're obviously complaining about it, as we should, but think about Michigan State cross-country trip, and they got to start essentially 11 p.m. their time. So
brutal.
There's some, it's a give and take, but I think we probably have the advantage on this side of the coin for next week.
Oh, I'm complaining as me, like as a team. Yeah.
We won't get out till midnight.
I'm complaining for me. Like, are you kidding me? I got to be at the Coliseum till 1 a.m.
Yeah. Well,
there are worse things, Ryan. Okay.
Yes,
there are worse
things. I'm blessed to be there till 1 a.m. My daughter doesn't think so, but I am.
Thank you guys. Appreciate all being here. We got to get here. It's getting late. Someone said that Notre Dame was tied. I mean, that was one thing. This damn delay. I thought it was catches of football tonight. But
that's a damn good game, folks. After they sign off from here, probably should check that game out a little bit.
Yeah, 3 minutes left. 34-34.
All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you guys on Wednesday for the call-in show. Bye, guys.